Okay, welcome back. We're going to go through some homework problems here. Page 143. This is the second part of Chapter 3A. So let's just go through the first couple here. Number 77 says we've got a bicycle that we purchased, retail price of $760. We've got tax of 7.6%. So we're looking for the final cost. So we take our 760, and I'm going to do the shortcut version of times 1.076 so that can cut out a step for me, and that should give me a final answer of $817.76. Alright, so price times our original 100% and the percent of tax, and that gives me my combined answer. Okay, for 78, the final cost of new shoes is 107.69. Local sales tax is 6.2. We need to find the pre-tax price. Okay, so basically we said if we're doing the shortcut version, we've got 6.2% tax. So that would be 1.062 times our original cost of X. That's what we're saying there. And it gives us our new cost of $107.69. So we're going to divide that by 1.062, and my original value, $101.40. Okay, so it's basically this one up here. X is my original value, and then the 1.062 is my 100% value with the tax percent added to it. Okay, moving along, 79. It says the 2,410 women undergraduates at the college comprise 54% of all undergrads. How many undergrads attend the college? So 54% of all the undergrads are women, and it tells me what that total is. So if I know that 54% of all the students, which is what we're looking for, X is going to be my variable, 54% times the total number of students, and then that 54%, it does say are women, and that's 2,410. So again, I just solve for X by dividing both sides of my equation by 0.54 to get my X by itself. My X is by itself when I do this here, so I have a grand total of 4,463 students. And if you wanted to double check that, you take this number and you times it by the 0.54% of women, and it should get you 2,410, which is what it says in the problem. Alright, number 80. Number of housing foreclosures in 2008 was 3.98 million, and that is up 81% over 2007. How many foreclosures were there in 2007? Okay, so here is where we are going to use our relative change formula. So we know that we've got 3.98 million. Okay, since we're referring to millions in both, I'm just going to leave it as 3.98 because the zeros in the millions would all cancel. So I'm just going to leave my 3.98 that I'm working with, just knowing that whatever my answer is going to be millions. Okay, so my new value minus my old value. Okay, new value minus my old value, and I'm dividing by my old value, my reference value. from 2007. Okay, and then I know that that's going to give me 0.81, because we're saying that those differences was an 81% increase. So I've got a positive 0.81. All right, now I'm just going to get my x by itself. I want to try to get x by itself. I've got a couple of them here, so it might take a few extra, an extra step or two. So I have all this divided by x. So if I want to get rid of the x on this side, I'm going to have to times by x over here and times by x over here. That's going to cancel these. And gives me 3.98 minus x. These canceled, so they're gone. And then I've got 0.81 times x. All right, so I continue to work here. I've got a minus x. I want to get x back to this side. So if I took x away, I want to add x to this side. I'm also going to add x to this side. So I've got 3.98. And then I added a 1x to my 0.81x. That's going to give me 1.81x. And since I've got 1.81 times x, I need to divide 1.81. That'll cancel these out. And since I did it here, I have to do it to this side. So that's going to give me 2.2. These are canceled, so that's x. So my answer is 2.2 million is how many houses were foreclosed in 2007 according to the data that was given in the problem. There you go, 2.21 million. Okay, moving along to 81. It says your total cost for dinner in a restaurant after the tip was $76.40. Assuming you left a 20% tip, what was the bill for the food and the taxes? Okay, so $76.40 was my total, and it said that we have a 20% tip. I hope I figured this up right. I've got the wrong number written down here. So that would be, okay, that's not wrong, 1.2 times whatever our original total was. We've got 1.2 because we said, you know, it goes back to our shortcut of finding taxes. We had our 20%, so that's 0.2, and then we're adding that to our original 100% bill. So 20% of that bill was added to the bill. So 1.2 times our bill, which is x in this case. All right, so we've got 1.2 times x. We divide by 1.2, divide by 1.2 to get x by itself. We're going to end up with $63.67 is our original total for our bill. Okay, 82. 82 says your dinner bill was $42.50. You leave a 50. What percent tip did you leave if you ignore the taxes in this question? So total $42.50. You left a 50. What kind of tip was this? So we're saying this is like a ratio here. We're trying to figure out, there's a couple of different ways you could do this. Let's say $7.50 is what was left over, right? $42.50. So we gave them an extra $7.50. So of the $50 that you gave them, $7.50 was towards the tip. So we're saying, what percent is this? Well, if we figure that up, we end up with 0.15, which would be a 15% tip. Okay, and basically what I did there for the $7.50, I took my new value, sorry, my, no, never mind, that doesn't make any sense, cancel that. All right, so 15% of what I left was the tip. Moving on to 83, we've got our home payment of $2,200. If 21% of his gross pay, if he pays 21% of his gross pay in tax, what is the gross pay? Okay, so $2,200 is my payment. Okay, and it says that 21%, if he pays 21%, what are we looking for? The other part would be 79%. So we're saying 79% of this is $2,200. So what Simon takes home in a month is $2,200, and that's after he pays the 21% tax. So 79% of what he takes home is $2,200. All right, so 0.79. We're timesing that by the total. So we divide to get x by itself. All right, and then we end up with 2784.81. And then for some reason, the answer in the back of the book rounded it to 2,785. Okay, so there's our answer for number 83. Just going to do a little section here so you can see them all at the same time. All right, 84 says that we've got $45 earned in annual interest from a savings account that has a 3.5% annual interest rate. Assuming she made no deposits or withdrawals during the year, what is the balance in the account? So $45 was the interest that was made with a 3.5% interest rate. So that's basically saying we have our original value, or our ending value, our ending value of X, and if we've got our 3.5%, it's tough to see, let's do this, okay, our 3.5% times our new value, it says that we made $45, so again we're going to get X by itself. And then that gives us 1,285.71, and then they rounded that to 1,286. Okay, so that was 84. We did number 85 as part of our notes, so hopefully you were able to refer to that and help you out with 86. 86 says you receive a pay raise of 5%, then receive a pay cut of 5%. So after the two changes in pay, your salary is unchanged. Okay, so again, here's where we're talking about percents of two different reference values. So this is probably going to end up false, but let's just double check to make sure. Since we're using one reference value, 5%, and then the new value, 5%. Let's see here. It looks like I decided to go with a actual dollar amount. So let's say we were making $100. If we add 5% to that, we're going to have $105. And then if we take away 5%, taking 5% of this 105, we are now at 99.75. Okay, so if you wanted to figure that out percentage-wise, I already kind of know what it is by just looking at it, but if you wanted to double check, in terms of percentage, you would get a, let's see here, it would be 0.0025, which is a 0.25% decrease. Alright, it is a decrease because you had your original value, you added 5% to that, and then you took away the same percent from the higher value. So you're taking away 5% of a bigger number, which means you're going to be lower than where you started. Okay, so even though you added 5 and then took away 5, the two values are different. When you took it away from a bigger number. So you're going to be lower than where you started. That's why we have the decrease there to 99.75. Okay. You can figure this out a few different other ways if you talked about the percentages like we said before with our examples in our homework or in our notes, and you should still end up with the same thing, saying that it's not accurate. Okay, so we did 87 in our notes. Looking at number 88, it says a high school reports that students' SAT scores were down by 20% for 1 year. The next year, however, SAT scores rose by 30%. The high school principal announces, overall, test scores have improved by 10% in the past 2 years. So let's see if we are correct or not. So let's just use 100 students to show us here. So if we're taking 100 and we decreased by 20%. Alright, so we're minus 20%, that's going to give me 80. And then if I'm going to increase by 30% the next time, the next year, it gives me 104. Okay, so you can see we are only plus 4% over 2 years. So this one will be false as well. Okay? False, 4% because of the differences there. It doesn't equal the plus 10% because we've got two different reference values that we are referring to. Alright, I am out of paper, so let's flip the page. Okay, our next one is 98. And we're at here at 98. So we're analyzing percent statements, assuming the given information is accurate. Determine whether the following statement is true. Provide an explanation. All right. So 98 says the class is 40% men, and 20% of the men are bald. So bald men comprise 40% times 20%, which would be 80% of the class. All right, this would be false, and let me show you why. So this is what you should end up with as an answer at the end, but let's just go through the explanation first. Okay, so we've got our 40% of men, and it says 20% of the men are bald. So we are saying 20% of the 40%, not 20% additional bald men. We're saying 20% of that 40%. 20% of the 40% equals bald. Marker's dragging here. Okay, so 20% of the 40% is bald. So we're saying that 0.4 times 0.2 is going to give me 0.08, which is 8%. So not not 80%, but 8% of the class is bald men, are bald men. Whatever proper grammar is there. All right, last one, 100. Number 100, 40% of the class drives to school and 15% take a bus to school. So that means 45% of the class neither drives nor takes a bus. Okay, so let's see what we come up with there. We've got 40% of the class are driving, and then totally separate, 15% take a bus. So that means if we add these together, we can add these here because we're saying here's a percent of the class, here's another percent of the class. So total 55% of the class drives or rides the bus. So if 100% of the class minus 55% leaves me with 45% that neither does anything, and that's what it says. So 100 would be true. Hopefully this explanation was helpful, and hopefully you didn't get stuck too bad. So we shall see you next week.